Hey guys, and welcome to QualityShot. And as you can see, I've also got with me Usher from Cricket Rust 2.0, and I'm really looking forward to this. PSL, the first leg is completely done in Karachi. We're going to be moving over to, well, where I'm from. Originally, anyways, Lahore. A lot of my family were there anyway before. So, and everyone knows I support Lahore Qalanders. So that's where I'm looking forward to seeing how the pitches behave. But the first leg was pretty exciting. We're going to go through the tables, how things stand, a couple of stats actually that I should pulled up, which is quite cool. Of course, the stats as well, who's performing the best with ball, bat, etc., who's looking the best unit, and then looking forward to the qualifiers and also the end of the tournament as well. Arshad, how you doing?
I'm good. Uh, kind of happy with where Islamabad are at the moment, but I've been saying
Mm.
this for the past week and a bit. Islamabad is who I support, but Multan Sultans are making me like their fans. Like the way they've been playing is just fantastic. So yeah, on top of that, some teams are coming back, some blistering performances, some
Yep.
expected performances like Karachi Kings, but we'll get to it. We'll get to it.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, Multan, what do you think? Do you think that's been expected of them to do so? Obviously, unbeaten. They haven't lost a single game. And at the top, they have Mohamed Rizwan and Shah Masood. And to be honest with you, Shah Masood's almost, in some ways, batted a little bit better than Mohamed
Yeah.
Rizwan in some instances. And he just looks really, really good. And we were saying, okay, well, where can we fit him into the Pakistan side potentially? And, that's a discussion for another day. But we've got so many openers that
Yeah.
are putting their hands up. But they just seem to have a really good unit. They can rest players, like Dahani hasn't played all the matches, for example. Um, yeah, so they just seem to have strength and depth, and they're riding on a confidence wave at the moment. And Andy Flower's done a really good job with them, I think.
Yeah, Andy Flower, Mohammad Rizwan, like that entire setup looks great. The funny thing is, if you think about it, apart from Sohaib Maksud, who was their best performer last year, apart from Sohaib Maksud, every single person, every single player has performed well. Riley Russo came in, scored a 50, 60 odd, went away.
Yep.
Tim freaking
Yeah.
David. How did Lahore Qalandars mess this up? Like,
He's
you tell
platinum,
me.
right? But who do you know? It's funny. I was talking to my brother the other day, and I was saying, "Man, we need to retain him." And then my brother corrected me, saying, "But the issue is they put in the platinum category, right?" And
Yeah,
so we picked Fakhar Zaman, which
makes
been
sense.
he's
Makes
been the
sense.
highest run scorer, right, so
Yeah,
far in the
yeah.
PSL. And then also we picked Shaheen Afridi, which again, best
Hmm.
bowler best player in the world at the moment. Well, given the last year anyway,
Hmm.
and Rashid Khan, who's like best T20 player of the decade. So I think the people that we picked are fair enough, but it's just a shame that we couldn't somehow fit him in. But
Hmm.
I can't see how we would have picked him over anywhere else. But he's just such a sublime talent, and we've seen it. His ball striking is out of this world, and he just continues to improve and look the real deal.
Yeah, man. Like I remember seeing him for the first time in the PSL last year. Then I saw him a bit in the IPL, seen him a bit in the BBL. But the way he plays in the PSL is just sight for sore eyes. And I'm really happy he's not with Lahore. So I'm enjoying the way he's batting. On top of that, we talk about everyone apart from Sohaib Maksud performing.
Mm.
Khushal Shah, what happened to him? He's like the second, third, or fourth
Yeah,
highest wicket taker. 9 wickets. He got a four-fer. He's not batting spectacularly well.
yeah, he's
However,
not.
his bowling's been the star of the show for Multan Sultans. 19 wickets. Those two spinners, Imran Tahir and Khushal Shah, 19 wickets this season. And it's just really nice to see from a Multan perspective. It was always like, oh, when they had Usman Kader, when they had Shahid Afridi, how would they fit them in? But this dynamic kind of works quite well. You have a part timer who's bowling well, so he can
Yeah,
bowl 3, 4 overs. Yes, he sometimes goes for runs, but picks up wickets or can be economical. Then you got Imran Tahir, the brilliance that is Imran Tahir. You mentioned Dahani has not played every single game. Imran Khan Sr. has not played every single game. They've been able to adjust their players accordingly, rest them, and then in Lahore they'll probably use Dahani a lot more in Lahore. But I think the way the entire team has been managed, you credited Andy Flower. I completely agree. Andy Flower, great choice as coach, whatever, mentor, whatever he is. He's absolutely stellar choice, and what he's done with the team, bringing everyone together. Rizwan's been talking about it. Tim David's been talking about it. That the dynamic in the team is really, really good. It's really solid. So yeah, whatever we talk about, Multan Sultans right now are the Sultans of the PSL. I expect them maybe to lose one game, but if they
mm.
don't, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Yeah, I mean, they're both openers are average over 50 so far, and they're second and third in the top run scorer list. So we mentioned that Fakhr's one's top, right? But he's been in ridiculous form. He averages 71
Yeah.
runs of 356 so far. So he is just been, in a red hot patch. But those two look so good. And then, as you said, they've got hitting down the order. Riley Russo, so good. He's been a campaigner, not just in the PSL, but around the world for South Africa as well for a number of years. Very, very solid. Tim David's been explosive, as we mentioned, and Kushal Shah can do a job as well. I mean, he's been known on the Pakistan side anyway for just going in and bashing it, really hitting sixes left, right, and center, and he can get you a quick 20, for example. And yeah, I agree with you. I think Kushal Shah finding his rhythm, and he has been a little bit of a golden arm. I feel I watched him bowl. It's so fun. I watched him bowl, and I just thought, what is this? I've never seen him bowl like this. Just a lot of confidence, not just to. I felt like before he would come in and bowl, and he'd try and bowl darts because he was worried he was going to get hit. Now he has variation. He will flight the ball a little bit. He will try and deceive them with flight. He will be confident enough to do that and say, okay, if I get hit, it doesn't matter. It's not a huge issue. And you talked about him being economical. He has the best economy out of the top 5 wicket takers, right? So he's third in that list with 9 wickets. Economy of 5.78.
Can you imagine
Ridiculous.
that? I know. Like, he's been utilized in the domestic circuit this year as well, and that's the best part. I think the confidence from playing a couple of international games, then being utilized a lot more domestically, has made him think, oh, maybe I can actually come in as a genuine all-rounder.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, Pakistan has a lot of slow left-arm bowlers who can tonk it at the end, right?
Yeah.
But Khurshid Shah's bowling has improved leaps and bounds, and it's great to see. As you said, 5.5, whatever it is, that's crazy. That is crazy.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I mean, I think at one point, so I did a watch along. I think this would have been, so he would have played 3 or 4 matches at that point. So he's obviously played 5 in total, but his economy was under 5. I mean, it was 4.5. I mean, I was just like, this is ridiculous. And he had his 9 wickets, or I think it was 7 wickets at that point. He is just coming to, again, another purple patch. Hopefully that continues, because the most exciting thing I find about watching the PSL is watching even though, yes, I'm supporting Lahore, you're supporting Islamabad, I think we can both agree that we want to see the Pakistani players improving. We want to see them doing well. And it's exciting then for us to then, okay, hold on. Crystal Shah, for example, he's coming to a bit of purple patch. He's bowling well. Shadab, which we'll get onto in a second. All-rounder. He looks fantastic at the moment. Hold on, our middle order for Pakistan doesn't look great. Can these guys fill the gaps? And the PSL is a great springboard, I think, going forward, and it will be quite crucial, I think, going into the T20 World Cup. It's different format, different conditions even, but still, confidence is key, and I think we've seen that with a lot of the guys in the tournament so far that haven't maybe been looked at as great T20 options, or even looked at as being potentially a good all-round option, but their confidence is there after a couple of games, and it's skyrocketed through the roof. And if they can continue with that, then it's all good for Pakistan. From a Pakistan point of view, can't complain, can we? To be fair,
no. And the funny thing is, we're talking about players who have been kind of established in the domestic scene, but then there's young players as well who've been shining, and we'll talk about them shortly. But I think the best part, and one of the best stipulations in the PSL, is emerging players. You have to play one for each team in every game, and you get to see young Pakistani players come into their own. Super excited about seeing Qasim Akram finally play. Super excited to potentially see Mohammad Herrera play. Right? There's another player. Again, I said we're going to talk about it, but I just want to mention Mohammad Umar. I want to mention. I can't believe Mohammad Imran hasn't played, and I don't know where he is. He's disappeared from the face of the earth. But Salman Rashad as well, bowling really well.
Yeah, really good. Really good. Different as well, right? Slingy, and we saw Bob Razam, who we know how good he is, struggling with the slower balls that Salman Rashad was basically delivering to him, and he looked like he didn't know what was going on. I was swinging at it wildly, and it was like, what? I've never seen this before. And it's not. Occasionally, it might happen 2 or 3 times in his innings, but it happened consistently when he was facing Salman Rashad, and he really struggled. And there was one over where, he hit him for a couple of boundaries. Apart from that, he was struggling a great deal to pick him up. And I think his action is the reason for that. How much, the novelty of it, will it wear off? I don't know, because it is quite slingy. People do tend to get a lot of match footage, video footage, and then kind of figure it out. But at the moment, it's definitely something to keep an eye on. And given that, unfortunately, Mohamed Hussain's not going to be on the T20 World Cup, which is really upsetting, I think, for both of us, Pakistan will need another seamer. So that's definitely up for grabs. Should we have a look at the table and then we can kind of just briefly talk about each team and then we can go through, I guess, the stats so far as well.
Sure.
Let me just bring up the table.
While you're doing that, I was just going to mention, we've talked about how good Multan Sultan is.
Yeah.
We can talk about how bad Karachi Kings is eventually, but they're just like, they're unlucky. I understand that they're unlucky. Joe Clark got injured. Mohammad Ilyas got injured. Muhammad Amir got injured. Qasim Akram couldn't play because of the Under-19 World Cup. Faisal Akram couldn't play because of the Under-19 World Cup. But I'm sure they have Colin Ingram somewhere, right? I'm not sure why he hasn't played. I'm sure they've got Babar Azam. They've got Shajil Khan. They've got really, really good. But Ian Cobain, he's been doing really well in England, right? So I was like, I expect a lot more from him.
He was doing he's done quite well. He's at $1 million when he's actually got in, but
it's just like really disappointing. On top of that, Chris Jordan coming in the last game, right? 4 matches without one of their best pace bowlers. So they have been on their second string side. So maybe moving away from their home ground will benefit them quite a lot.
Yeah, less pressure. We can talk about Karachi Kings. We may as well go into that properly. But Faizan just saying, good morning, gents. Hope you guys are doing well. I'm working in the background. Won't be active in this chat. Here mostly to hear the discussion. Thanks for joining, Faizan, as always. Guys, do fire away with any questions if you're on the chat and you do want to engage. Otherwise, feel free to just listen as well. So, of course, fine.
I've got a question for you, Faizan, and it's more. And I know we were going to go top to bottom, but I'd rather go bottom to top.
Yeah, go Karachi.
Yeah, Karachi Kings. Why do you think they've been struggling so much? We can everyone has been criticizing Babar, but the thing is, right? Babar Azam is still in the top 10 run scorers. He's always played like this. It's not like
he's
it's
something
top 5.
He's in the top 5.
Thank you. Yeah. Right, top 5 scorers. And I said this in my video that he's playing like KL Rahul for Punjab Kings or Kings 11 Punjab or Misbah ul Haq for an extent with Pakistan, because he believes there is no one else who can come and strike the ball. Or otherwise, what was it? There was 66 for 6 or something not too long ago, right? Muhammad Nabi comes in, scores a blistering 40, whatever he did. That's one game, right? Imad Wasim losing the captaincy has definitely hurt him in some sort of way, because he's like, I don't care anymore.
You're so funny. I was saying to my brother yesterday, went to have lunch. We were saying that Imad Wasim, his bowling still pretty damn good. It's always been good. His batting though, it's almost like he just doesn't care. It's almost like he doesn't want to. He hasn't improved at all. It's almost like he doesn't want to work on his batting at all. He feels like, okay, well, for Pakistan, I know I'm going to bowl, but realistically, I'm going to bat lower down the order. Don't really need to worry too much about it. But at one point, we were talking about him as if he could finish games for Pakistan, because that's how good it looked like he could play in that role. In the Champions Trophy, he did it. But since then, it's been really, really scarce. And it's weird because he'll come up with like a paddle or something. We've never ever seen him play it, and he'll get out like that. And it's like, what? It's like, have you actually been working on that? Or are you just trying to try things out there in the middle because you're like, oh, whatever, let's just try. If it works, great. If not, well, no one's expecting him to get runs. But for Karachi, especially, given it's a franchise tournament, it's not Pakistan, Babar must be sitting there thinking, come on, man. Like, I know you were captain. I know you're probably a bit upset that, you're not captain anymore, but you are not doing me any favors with the bat here. You're a Pakistani international. You've been in the international setup for pretty much 10 years.
Pretty much 10 years.
Like so many years. You've been the Karachi Kings captain. Surely you think, come on, step up and actually help me out here. But he has been poor, really poor. And the issue is, no one can blame Babar Azam, because as you said, I can see some comments here, so we'll go through them as well. I think highlighting your point, he feels like he's the only person who can get a substantial score every single game. So if they're in trouble, he's not going to play expansively early on, because why would he do that? If he gets out, they will get skittled and they've got no chance. I think the last game they played where he got, I think, 90 odd, I think that was their last game.
No, it was the one before that.
The one before, okay, where he got 90 odd. And I did the watch along for it, and yes, okay, like he didn't look like he wanted to go, particularly quickly in the last 5. Like it took him until the last 3 overs to then start going. And yes, he could have gone a bit earlier, but for one, he's not a finisher really, anyways. But for 2, and for 2, yes, he did start he started cleaning up really in the last couple of overs, but by then it was a bit too late. But the problem is no one was staying with him. So, you can't expect someone, you can't blame someone who's got 90 or 64 and be like, you're the reason we lost that game. How can you say that? It's ridiculous. Like, no one else has done anything. So,
Yeah.
Karachi, unfortunately, like Shadil Khan as well, I've been really disappointed with. Again, he's similar to Imad Wasim in my head, that he was the first person to score a PSL 100. There was huge, people raving about him because he hit such a clean ball. But it almost seems like unless it's a really flat track and unless people are just bowling into his arc, he's like, I don't know what to do. Like, he got out in that match actually we're talking about, and he just wafted his bat out. It was so weird. I was like, he did no foot movement. First ball as well. He went out for a first ball duck, just wafted his bat outside off stump. Could have left it easily. Just left it. I was like, what is going on?
We talk about that wafty shot, that run out. And I was like, what is going on? There are good players. I don't know why Muhammad Taha isn't utilized more in higher up. Amir Yamin, to be honest, his batting's been okay, but his bowling hasn't been up to the mark, unfortunately. And Sahibzada Farhan, someone who had a fantastic domestic circuit, right?
Yeah.
Genuinely had a really, really good season. Yeah. He's had one okay innings. Okay,
I have not been impressed. His keeping as well. I mean,
he's not supposed to. This is the thing.
Poor.
His keeping is supposed to be his tertiary skill, right? You have Rohail Nazir. Why is Rohail Nazir not playing? I've been talking. I've been talking about Rohail Nazir for years.
Yeah. We're both fans of him. Yeah. Why is he not in there? I don't know.
He's just there just to make up the numbers. And I read Mohammad Stan's comment, and I completely agree with him. Right? No one's supporting Babar Azam and Colin Ingram in the BPL. Thank you. I didn't know that, but yeah, he's playing in the BPL. Fair point. But
so wasn't Colin Ingram? He was in there for a few games, wasn't he? Or am I getting completely mixed up?
I think I think maybe I'm confusing it from last year rather than this year. So I don't think he was in today. This year, sorry.
They've got someone else in there though. Let me have a look while you talk about that. But yeah, I mean, Karachi though, I think Mohammad Hussain said here about Imad Wasim. I mean, this is quite an interesting point. He says, I don't think Imad will play for Pakistan any longer. Nawaz is just too good at every facet. The thing is, Nawaz isn't really a particularly good batsman, but he's much better than Imad at the moment, which says a lot because he's hardly scoring any runs, but Imad Wasim is literally getting out for less than 5 each match. It's unbelievable.
I think one thing we've always disagreed on this point, but I've always thought Nawaz is a better batsman. But I thought Imad over the years has proven a lot more in the international circuit to say, oh, I'm able to come in and save a match. So I just had more faith in him. But over the last year and a bit, Imad Wasim has just not given me that type of, stability from a Pakistani perspective. And it seems to be translating across into Karachi Kings. And Nawaz is great. And that 25 of 12 yesterday was brilliant. Can't really doubt that. His bowling has been the strong point. And I used to think Imad Wasim was a better bowler, Mohammad Nawaz was a better batsman, and maybe a better fielder. But the thing is, Nawaz is just better in all 3 facets right now. So I have to say this, Mohammad Hassan, one of the first subscribers on, I don't know your channel, but for mine, he was in the first 50. And he's been saying since the beginning, Nawaz is better than Imad, Nawaz is better than Nawaz. I got to say, you were right. You were definitely right.
I think what it is with the bat, so as a batsman, yes, I'm not a professional player, but as in from what I've seen, just the eye test, forget about even how many runs they're scoring, but when Imad Wasim is actually batting for longer than 2 minutes, it looks like he's able to actually score at a decent rate. And his technique and the way that he strikes the ball, the timing, it just seems like it's a lot more refined than Nawaz, Nawaz looks like, one of those really rough players who just comes out and he's really, really unrefined the way that he bats, from what I've seen anyway. Yes, I know he can hit a long ball, but he just seems very limited. But in saying that, in T20 cricket, it's not that big a deal to be unrefined because you don't need to have a rock-solid defense. It's not ODI cricket or Test match cricket. I think we're seeing that. Nawaz is, 1, playing with more confidence, but 2, he actually cares. And I think, therefore, he's going to be better in all 3 facets, right? So that's a very good point. In terms of, I was saying with overseas players, so yeah, you're right. There is no... Colin Ingram, there's Bain, who obviously has played okay at times. Nabi obviously is quality, and they've got Lewis Gregory, who his economy in PSL is just under 10, which is pretty poor. But less said about that, the better. In terms of, let's see here, Fazan says, if Nawaz or Happy Heart Kushtil can become good international level opening bowlers like Ahmad is, we won't need Ahmad anymore.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah, Mohammed said, I can see your points about Shaheen. We'll get to that in a second. We're just going to try and work from the bottom up now. We've talked about Multan. But if you have any questions about Multan, we can answer that at the end as well. But we'll come to the Lahore questions when we get to that portion. But we can work upwards. I think we talked about Karachi and slated them enough.
Yeah.
But Peshawar, I mean, Peshawar have been, kind of like, I'm not quite sure Wahab Riaz, and his captaincy is always very interesting at times. Though his bowled hasn't been great.
It's been terrible, Fazad. You're saying his bowling hasn't been great. It's been horrendous.
But it's not been great, to be fair. It's not been great at all. But the positives are Zazai's batted really well. I think at times he's batted really good. Kamar Akmal, after the whole, I guess, drama around him not being happy, he was in the silver category. In the end, ended up playing the first leg and representing Washara. But they just seem to struggle a little bit. Sean Malik's been really good, your favourite. I know, and he's been really good. He's been really good. And in subcontinent conditions, he is a quality player. He's not just got runs, he's got some wickets as well. I think Ben Cutting's been okay. He's had one decent innings. He's bowled okay.
His bowling's been terrible. His bowling, unfortunately, hasn't been... Ben Cutting, and the best example I give every time, Ben Cutting and David Visa. Two players who are very, very similar kind of players. For some reason, David Visa is just better. David Visa for Lahore Qalanders has just performed better and better and better. Ben Cutting, every time he plays in the PSL, even for Quetta, whichever team he's played for, he gets smashed. His batting sometimes comes into it. He's a very good fielder, no doubt. He's an outstanding fielder.
Yeah.
But his bowling's just never up to the mark. His batting, that 50 was extraordinary. But taking all that into consideration, Peshawar Zalmi's batting has really given them not much to work with. We said Shoaib Malik, right? Haider Ali had a couple of decent innings. Zazai had a couple of... everyone has been about 60%. Maybe apart from Shoaib Malik, he's been about 70. Everyone else has done about 60, 55. And for that reason, Peshawar Zalmi has just not looked that good whenever they've played. And I can't remember who else I think they beat Quetta, but I can't remember. I'm sure they beat Karachi, right?
Yeah, they have been Karachi because Karachi won a game.
Yeah,
right? Yeah, they've definitely been Karachi.
But I can't remember the other team they beat. But Peshawar Zalmi's definitely looked like the side that is not going to qualify. Let's put it straight. I think after Jason Roy's inclusion for Quetta, it's giving them a slightly different outlook, and that'll be great. And Liam Livingston's inclusion in Zalmi might just help them out a lot.
They need it. They need it, right? Because at the moment, their batting unit does not look solid whatsoever.
Nope,
I mean, they've got Shafain Rutherford there, who's a really talented player, but he just hasn't quite managed to make it. I mean, to be fair, he's coming quite low down as well. Interestingly, Hussein Dalit, the way he's been utilised has been really weird.
Yeah.
He's a good bat. He should be batting higher up, and then in some of the games he got dropped, he just wasn't picked. But then he's bowled really well at times when he's actually got the ball in hand, slow balls, etc. But the way they've used him is just he's almost in there. If we need a player, if someone's injured or overseas and isn't available, then we'll chuck him in there. But I'm he's a good player. Why not utilize him? And to be honest with you, it sounds really harsh, but I would take him over Wahab Riaz at the moment in that side. But Wahab Riaz is the captain, so he won't get dropped, right? But we talked about Salman Irshad being really good. He's a big positive. He's bowled really well. Umar Khan as well. Those two bowlers have definitely been shining lights in the Peshawar Zalmi team. And Liam Livingston, I think, will give them, hopefully, an injection that they need, because he'll be able to hit. I'd assume he's going to bat in the top 4.
He has to bat in the top 4.
So he'll come in and look, I mean, he probably won't score every single game. He wasn't in amazing form for West Indies, but we know what ability he does have. And the best thing as well is that he can bowl spin. And in these conditions, he should have some success. I still think it's a bit village that he bowls leg spin and off spin, but it's effective, right? And in franchise cricket, it works. And towards in international cricket, it's been working as well. So it's very hard to disagree or kind of criticize it at all, because so far it's held the test of time at the moment. So he's great, to be fair.
Yeah, very, very good. And one thing I just want to mention about Mohammad Umar and Salman Irshad, they're getting bowlers. They've always got bowlers. They got Mohammad Imran last year, right?
Yeah.
They had Ahmad Butt last year as well, someone who has been on your channel. They had Umad
Yeah.
Asif last year, who has also been on your channel. Please
Yeah.
do check out the videos on Quality Shot.
Yeah. Well, it's so far to the watch log, and when else was bowling, I was like, "Come on!" He got two. He got the. He got. Who was
2
it
wickets,
against?
did
He got the both openers. I think. I think it might have been Peshawar actually. No, it wasn't Peshawar. It would have been. Yeah, no, it was. It was Peshawar, and he got both
Yeah.
openers. And I was like, "Yes, come on!" Like when I was like cheering on for him, and I was like, "But I don't really support Karachi, but I talked to him and stuff, so I was like, it's hilarious." But
I think
doing
their
well.
bowling isn't the issue though. It's
It's
their
not their
batting.
batting.
It-
Well, they've
it's
got
definitely
Saki.
their
So
batting.
Saki Mahmood's come in, right? He's only played one
He's
match.
been
He got
spanked
smashed.
though.
But it's
Right?
only one match, Ashton, right? Like
He's gonna
get.
come back strong. He's gonna.
Yeah,
This is the
it's
thing. How do they kind of? They're gonna play Zazai because they went for Zazai over Jason Roy in the draft, right?
Yeah.
So they're gonna play Zazai. They're gonna play Rutherford. They're gonna play Cutting. Might be the one that they might drop and bring in Liam Livingstone. I think that's potentially what they'll do because Saki Mahmood last season. Do you remember what he got? Like 13
Yeah.
wickets in like 4 games or something.
He
Right?
was the highest wicket taker of the whole tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Saki Mahmood is going to play every single game, I feel.
Yeah, he
But
will.
they'll have to, like Ben Cutting's the one they'll have to kind of drop and bring in someone like Liam Livingston. Again, I can't remember, and you can correct me. Saki Mahmood didn't have the greatest series against West Indies. None of the paces did for England. So it might be that they just might need to get into the flow of things over the next couple of games and then see how it goes. But yeah, can't count someone like Saki Mahmood out. Liam Livingston, though, we've been saying this for about a year now. He's just really good. And if he does what he was doing in July, what he was doing about 6 months ago, then there's no doubt that Peshawar Zalmi will perform well. I don't see him qualifying though. I think Peshawar Zalmi and Karachi Kings are out of it. Bold statement. I think the top 4 right now will be the top 4 moving forward.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, he's going to be key if they want to have any chance of qualifying. I mean, he needs to come out the blocks, and him and Livingston will be like they need to basically just hit the ground running straight away. They don't have much time to waste. Let's move up then to Quetta. Obviously, that was the last match right against my beloved Lahore, and they chased down a 200+ score, which was unbelievable to us. Jason Roy with 100 looked incredible whilst doing it. Yeah. So I think for him, Jason Roy as well, he said it was the best innings he's ever had. He looked really good against West Indies in that T20 series. And I think personally, that's really the injection they needed, to be honest with you. Yes, they still don't have a great strength and depth in the team, but when someone like that comes in, James Vince as well, batting really well, they've really, really bolstered that batting lineup.
I'm surprised they're not playing Will Smeed, but the thing is, SNL's had a pretty good season, so they're trying to figure out what. Like I said this to Ramis and like a few other people. Basically said their top 4 needs to be Will Smeed, Jason Roy, SNL, and James Vince. That's my opinion. And then Iftikhar at 5, and then you have Nawaz at 6, Faulkner at 7, and Sarfraz at 8. Because that's what Sarfraz now needs to do. He needs to go back to what he was doing in 2019. But so far, I think their batting has definitely gotten a boost. Jason Roy, it was one of those innings that you'll see once a year, maybe twice a year. Right? It was that type of inning. So if you can do it again, great for Quetta.
Who would you drop? So Will Smeed also interviewed on the channel, so do check out that if you're interested.
Yes.
Yep. So I actually messaged him after his 97. I was like, battered. He was like, "Thanks, mate." I was like, yeah, "No problem." But Luke. So they've got obviously last match they played Luke Wood, James Faulkner, James Vince, and Jason Roy as their 4 overseas. So who would you drop out of those 4 then for
Luke
Will
Wood.
Smeed? Luke Wood. Yeah, I mean, okay.
It's not. It's nothing against him, but it's just the fact that I think their bowling should be okay. For me personally, the batting was the big issue. Their bowling, yes, they've lost Mohammad Hasnan, which is a huge blow, right? Naseem and Hasnan together, they haven't bowled much together because Naseem was injured, then Hasnan got injured. Now Hasnan can't play, etc. But I think but Faulkner, you got Naseem Shah, you've potentially got Nawaz in there with the bowl as well. I can't even remember their team, but Iftikhar Ahmed as well, right? So they can definitely do. James Vince bowls a bit, right? You know, a bit of spin. He might.
He won't bowl.
He might do. He bowled for Multan Sultans. So I was like, why
but
not?
that was the issue, right? That they had where Shadab Afridi bowled the last over to Zalmi against Islamabad, and he got absolutely smashed because they only had 5 bowlers.
That was so stupid. I think they're gonna bring back Sohail Tanveer. And this is a decision that you have to take. And I'm telling you this, I want Will Smith, Jason Roy, James Vince in the top four. I don't see them going with this though. I think they're
Yeah,
gonna probably go down the route. Maybe Luke Wood plays, or whichever other
yeah,
overseas player they have, because they'd want a slightly more balanced attack. While I'm thinking more of the sense, oh, you have part timers and then you have three genuine
yeah.
bowlers.
They're worried
I
about their
think,
bowling, aren't they?
yeah,
That's what
yeah.
they are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but Jason Roy, his inclusion has been outstanding. I just feel bad for teams like Peshawar Zalmi. They could have genuinely, like everywhere, everyone's been talking about this, but that Peshawar Zalmi could have had Jason Roy as the first pick. They picked Zazai, who again,
He's
fantastic
good. Yeah,
player,
I really like him.
but
Yeah.
Jason Roy is
But
just
Jason
really
Roy, yeah. I mean,
good.
Jason
Yeah,
Roy is, he is the definition of a
he's
platinum T20
platinum
player.
player. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, agreed.
Zazai is, he's in between a gold and platinum player. That's kind of how I
Mm.
have him probably. He's
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Like, he's really good. And he will get you 30, 40 every other game.
Mhm.
Kind of maybe maybe
Every
two
couple
games
of
out
games.
of three. Two
Yeah,
games
yeah.
out of three, even, potentially. But he is that good. But Roy is just X Factor. And he
Mm,
showed that, dismantling Shaheen, which not many people can do.
mhm.
Mohamed says Nawaz is more of a wicket taker than an economical bowler. Of course, Nawaz playing for Quetta, whereas Ahmad doesn't get wickets, but bowls economically. And then also Fazan saying here, but Roy can't do this all the time, mentioning his 100. If he fails, what happens then? Can the rest of the team pick up the slack? And that, I guess, then is really completely backing up your point about including Will Smith in there, because then you have Will Smith, you have James Vince, you have Iftikhar, and then after that, Safraz, for example. You're supplementing your batting with bringing in another opener such as Will Smith in there, right? So
Yeah, and the thing is, I'm not surprised they're playing Shahid Afridi. This is his final season and all that stuff. I would make the bold move of probably not playing Afridi in every single game. I would say, yeah,
yeah,
you
yeah,
rest Afridi. Yeah,
yeah, of course. Why
they,
would
they pro-
you?
yeah, there's no need. And I think Afridi plays a couple of games, but barring that, yeah, I don't see him being a regular in the side. And hopefully, he has one good showing with the bat, and then he can officially retire from the PSL. He won't. He won't. He won't.
I
But
know.
yeah,
Why would he?
it, I think that was my point there, Fazan. But yeah, thanks for that. Appreciate that question. The team can soak up the pressure, and we saw it yesterday. We saw
Mm.
James Vince play well. We saw Mohammad Nawaz coming in and scoring a quick fire 25. And yeah, very excited about Quetta. I think Quetta needed, that was the boost, that was the momentum change they needed just before shifting to Lahore.
Yeah, agreed. Let's talk about Lahore then, because obviously they are in third position. They had the opportunity to go up to second, but blew it really. But inspired batting, to be fair, from Roy and Vince that we just mentioned. Lahore. Let's talk about Shaheen's captaincy, because I know Mohammed Hussain has asked about it. So I'll ask you first, Ashjad. He's actually said here, let's get the question up. Says, do you guys think Shaheen is a decent enough captain? Lahore has the best bowling lineup, and yet they get smacked. It's hard to disagree.
Yeah,
What do you think?
yeah. The only thing I'd say is he is 5 games old as captain, right? He has, no offense to Shaheen Afridi, dude is literally learning on the job
Yeah,
how
he
to
is.
captain a side. He's a 21, 22-year-old who is probably Pakistan's best bowler and now has been given this responsibility. And he's the type of guy, we've seen him in interviews, he doesn't want to say no. He wants to be involved as much as possible. He's
Yeah.
given that confidence onto his bowlers, but he's still learning. So for me, I can't say Shaheen Afridi is that type of player, that type of captain right now. He will become that type of captain, but not right now. I think it's too soon to kind of judge him just based on these 5 games. Also, Fazan, can you give me like 1 minute? I'll be back in 1 minute.
Yeah,
All right.
sure.
Yeah, you can talk about Lahore Qalanders.
Yeah, sure.
In the meantime. Yep.
So, yeah, I think I agree with Ash's point about Shaheen. I think, to be honest with you, it's a learning curve, right? Let's be honest, it's a big learning curve for him. He's only, 19, 20, 21, as he said. The issue with him is I don't think he's had much, if any, prior captaincy experience. So that is probably why he hasn't been able to probably captain as well as some of the other captains in the PSL. I'm not sure why. I was a bit surprised when they gave him the captaincy, because he's so young and you want your star players to just focus on bowling well, especially as he's that young. He's their star player, he's their marquee player. I guess they could have given it to Hafiz maybe, which might not have been a bad option. But instead they chose to go with the young gun, and hopefully he'll develop in that role, I think. But in terms of bowling changes, I mean, they do have a pretty damn good bowling attack. I think the issue has been probably how he's utilized himself and Horace Rolfe at times. I think he needs to be a bit more smart about how he uses both paces. I think against Quetta, I think the bowling plans weren't correct to Roy, for example. But in saying that, I'm hoping they will come good in the second leg at home in Lahore as well. And we've got a baby on stream as well.
What's up? Yeah. So basically, she just woke up, so I had to kind of get her. But I hope you don't mind. I hope you don't mind. Well, she's
upset.
Right, that I might have to drop off.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Just a quick 2-3 points I want to make about Lahore. Fakhar Zaman, sensational. He's been the glue at the top of the order, but every other batsman has not been able to do the same thing. And that's really disappointing to see from Lahore. Yes, yesterday was a spectacular day, right? Yesterday was a day of runs. In total, what was it? 410, 412 runs in the entire day, something like that. But Fakhar Zaman is that glue at the top of the order that is scoring consistently. He's got almost 300 runs in five games, as you said, an average of 70 odd. So he's just been really good. Now, with the bowlers, they do have the best bowling attack. I think Rashid Khan could have been given the captaincy personally.
Interesting.
Because I think he's a very
but yeah, maybe Rashid Khan. Yeah.
Issue with Hafiz is he's not batting really well. He's not bowling really well either. So his forms is going to get worse and worse. That's my take. But no, I think with Hafiz is not a bad shout. I think Hafiz was captain a few years ago, but he just probably doesn't want the job. And then if just quick point. About Islamabad I wanted to make, if that's all right. With Islamabad United, it is Shadab Khan season, right?
Yeah.
Said this. Do you remember you saying this literally last year? You said, if Shadab starts to bowl the way we know he can bowl, he is going to be Pakistan's best player. And right now in the PSL, he is like, I would give him player of the tournament just right now. The way he's batting, the way he's bowling, man. 2 4-fers and a 5-fer. In 5 games, it's just great. It's so good to see. It's something we haven't seen, at least I haven't seen Shadab Khan do in multiple years now. On top of that, they've got Fahim Ashraf. Yes, he's doing his job, right? Why he's in the team? He's doing his job, but he's not bowling particularly well. He's not batting particularly well.
No.
He's making up the numbers, but he's doing his job in the sense that he's bowling 2-3 overs. If he needs to bat, he bats as well. And the top 3 that they have in Colin Munro, Alex Hales, and Paul frickin' Sterling. Yes, Paul Sterling is now gone, but Paul Sterling, man, he's a beast. And I feel so bad for players like him and Alex Hales. I don't get to see them that much, right? Apart from franchise cricket, or again, I don't watch Ireland that much, anyways. But with Sterling's just on another level, and it's great to see both of those guys, and then Colin Munro as well, consistently batting well. Shadab Khan at 4. You remember 2 years ago, we were like, why does he keep promoting himself? He should do this, he should do that. His striking is really good. And
180, I think, at the moment.
Yeah, 180 strike rate, which is one of the highest in the season. And one last point I just want to mention about the PSL. I know I'm going on a monologue, but basically I gotta go. That's why I'm going on a monologue. The boundaries, too damn short.
Yeah.
Like 55 meters, 58 meters. And I know Jason Roy was hitting 80-meter sixes. Nawaz was hitting 80 meters, 75. That's great. I still think the boundary should not be any less than 70. It would be such a better game for it. And some of the sixes, they just so mishit, and then they still go for 6. It's like that just doesn't look right. So for that reason, that's my take on it, at least. But no, thank you, Fazan. Genuinely really appreciate it.
Thanks for being on.
Of course. And please, everyone, do like, share, subscribe. I'm going to post this all over social media, this video, because my daughter's in it as well. And we had a really good conversation. But no, I'm going to have to go, but you can continue on, of course. Thank you, Fazan. And thank you, everyone.
Problem.
Enjoy. Thanks.
No worries. Thanks, Ashdud, for being on. Thanks, guys, as well. Yeah, do like and subscribe. Let's finish it off then here. with Lahore and Islamabad. I'll go over, give my thoughts as Usher's given his. I completely agree with him about Fakhar Zaman. I mean, it's very difficult to disagree. Fakhar Zaman has been so good. I mean, he just hit this red hot patch where everything he does just turns into gold. And Mohamed Hussain makes a good point here, saying also a word on Abdullah Shafiq. He's the best looking batter of this PSL. He hasn't been able to get more runs. I think with him, it's a huge confidence issue. Also, shot selection maturity as well are words that I'd use when it comes to Abdullah Shafiq. Knowing when to play the right shots at the right time, I think his shot selection is lacking. And something, to be fair, that we can also say about Haider Ali, Peshawar, really. Two talented youngsters, Pakistani youngsters who clearly are the future for the international team if they do continue to improve at the rate we hope they will. However, they still have a long way to go. Batting is not just about having all the shots in the book. A lot of people do have that. A lot of people have that talent. It's about making sure that you play the correct shots at the correct times. And I feel like with him, he just hasn't quite been able to do that for a long period of time in innings. He's maybe done it at the start and he's looked good, but then he hasn't been able to push on. And that's because his concentration as well, his attention span is not quite attuned yet to play big, long innings on a consistent basis anyway. And yeah, I was just saying, very true. Shafiq has looked good at the top. Agreed in terms of how he's looked. Just needs to come up with the goods. In terms of, here you go. Arch Cricket says, have you heard about the mid-season trade window? I have not. Let me know what's going on with that. I watch cricket. Thanks for thanks for tuning in as well. I haven't heard about that actually. So some more information on that would be good. Let me just then finish up on my thoughts on Lahore and Islamabad. Then we'll go through the stats as well so far in this leg. Then my predictions as well for the qualifiers going forward. So Lahore, and obviously any questions you have, we'll answer as we go along. In terms of the rest of Lahore and kind of their performances, we know David Wisa can smack it at the bottom of the order, towards the back end of an innings even. And Rashid Khan, we know how good he is. He hasn't looked incredible. I think there's a lot of respect, I'm sure, put on him bowling, although he did only go for 8 and over, which is still not bad yesterday, but you normally expect him to go for 4 or 5. That's just how good he is. So they'll rely heavily on him. Hafiz needs to get some runs. He hasn't looked particularly good. I should mention that apart from Fakhar Zaman, no one else has really got substantial runs. They've got Hafiz, they've got Phil Salt, who's a really good attacking batsman. They've also got Harry Brooks, who's really good. Harry Brook. I think he's a really exciting young talent. My brother was telling me, look, keep an eye out for him. He's a really good batsman. He played pretty well for England against West Indies in the recent T20 series, and he's come into the team and he hit a magnificent knock yesterday for Lahore. But the issue with him is now going to be, can he do it on a consistent basis, because the others around him are not doing it. So he really fuckers them on. So let's then talk about Islamabad. Before we do, Irish Cricket talking about the mid-season trade window says the team can trade a maximum of 2 players with other teams. Interesting. If the player has not played yet. Ooh. Okay. That's very interesting. So we might see some wheeling and dealing then in the next couple of days, which will be interesting to see how that all comes about. Of course, Karachi, for example, a bit different, but because they had so many injuries to their bowlers, they brought in Usman Shanwari as a injury replacement, really. And he was drafted in, but they're struggling with their bowling, bowling strength. Although really it's been their batting, as you mentioned earlier, that's been the main cause of defeats. Islamabad have looked really good, I think, and as Usher rightfully said, the top 3 is scintillating, and it's an incredible top 3 to have. Of course, yes, Paul Stalling will not be playing for the second half, but they've still got Robin Bars, if I'm not mistaken, who can come in. He is a really good player. Yes, not quite as good as Sterling. He's not as experienced. He's still very young and raw, but he can score very quickly. You give him an over or so, and that's it. He's up and running. Also, Alex Hales. I mean, I've watched him a lot growing up because I'm here in the UK, and I've actually watched him live a lot of times playing for Nottinghamshire, which is his county here. And I've seen him hit 150, 100s, 50s, just ridiculous hitting. He's always had that explosive nature about him, and T20 is the perfect format for him. White ball cricket is where he really does shine, and I mean, he's showing it here again in this tournament, and he has in franchise tournaments for a number of years now that he is a reliable player to have at the top of the order, and he will get you runs. So he, again, will be someone they'll look to get runs. Colin Munro as well, really, really good player. And Shadab Khan has looked like gold. He's played so well with the bat. I think the way that he's attacked spin has been phenomenal. He's really come into his own against spin, I think, especially. The way that he's, I think, shown maturity in his running between the wickets as well, not just looking to hit big all the time, knowing when to hit the gaps, pick up singles, pick up twos, knowing that, he is a pretty crucial now part of this batting lineup, and he can and does have the ability to get big runs, means that he puts more value on his wicket. And I think controlled aggression is the right term for what I think we've seen from Shadab Khan. And I like to use that phrase, to be fair, in all sports that I talk about. And I think that is how good he has been. Strike rate of 180. We'll get the stats up as well in a second, and you'll see that he is, kind of in and amongst all those stats, the top 5 for pretty much most. And Usher says Wasim Jr. has been good too. He's been really good, I think. Mohammed Wasim Jr., left armour, of course, and he's been good. Not left armour, right armour even, but he's been good. He's been good. And I think if we look at the rest of Islamabad, you've got Mubassir Khan, who's kind of been in and out, hasn't really performed and played in a lot of matches when he has been okay. Azam Khan as well, coming to his own in times, played really well against Quetta, dismantling Shahid Afridi. He plays spin extremely well, so he's fantastic in the middle to late overs as well. And he continues to improve. They've got Asif Ali, who we know can finish extremely well in the last 5. Hassan Ali can give it a whack as well. But rightfully, Usher said Fahim Ashraf hasn't been in his best, but he's in there to contain. I'd like to see a bit more from him, because really, when Pakistan go to Australia in the T20 World Cup later this year, he would be the ideal pick for a Seymour rounder if he's firing on all cylinders. He's not at the moment, so we'll see whether he's able to come into some form. And they've got Waqas Maqsood as well, who's a pretty good little bowler as well, the left armour. So they've got an interesting couple of players in there. And Shadab Khan is definitely leading the line with not just bat, but ball as well in hand. And he could potentially be the answer to one of Pakistan's question marks in that middle order. I said, what's been your favourite match of this season so far? I think yesterday's match, even though Lahore lost, I thought it was a really, really exciting match to watch. And it might be a bit of recency bias, but I just think the hitting, the excitement around the game, and the fact that they managed to get such a big total at the time, and the way that it was done was really impressive. So yeah, I'll go with that. Quetta versus Lahore. Old Trigger says Yasir Khan, who played the first 2 matches for Peshawar Zalmi, looked talented. He needs to be given a chance again. Yeah, I think the issue is that, and it's a little bit unfortunate, but also it does strengthen the PSL, is that a lot of international players do come in either midway through the first leg or, at the intermission between legs, the first and second leg. So we've seen Sakib Mahmood come in, obviously James Vince, all the England players have come in, right? And that does mean that some players will miss out. So, for example, Will Smead, we said about playing for Quetta, he batted really well, got that 97, looks a very destructive batsman, but Quetta then have opted to go for Luke Wood, who's, another Englishman, but they've gone for the bowler rather than him, and he's now coming in as an option. So there's a lot of people in there. Jason Roy's coming, James Vince as well, into that Quetta lineup. So unfortunately, some of the younger players may not get as much of a look in after. It does strengthen the PSL as a whole. It will strengthen them going forward long term, but short term, opportunities may be a bit less, unfortunately. And Ash says, not sure why he didn't play more than just 2 games. So we'll see. Maybe he's injured. Who knows? The injuries are not always documented particularly well when it comes to cricket, to be fair, as well. Right, let's go through the stats then, and then we'll finish up relatively soon. So you can see here, we'll go through the top run scorers first. So you go Fakhar Zaman at the top there. Look at that average of 71. Unbelievable. Runs 356 so far from 5 matches. Shah Masood and Mohammad Rizwan, they are close behind in the second and third place. both average over 50. And Shah Masood with 275 runs and Mohammad Rizwan 215. And Ahsan Ali, who obviously Usher said, he's batted pretty well, which is why Will Smeed hasn't, I guess, been in the lineup. And I guess until his form drops, I'm sure Will Smeed will be hot on his heels. If he does have 1 or 2 games that aren't particularly good, you don't be surprised if Will Smeed gets drafted back in. He actually, again, averages over 50 from 5 matches and at 211 runs so far. And Babar Azam, who we mentioned, maybe hasn't looked quite his fluent best, but it's still batted really well. And Babar Azam, who's batting okay, is normally the equivalent of everyone else batting pretty damn well. So an average of just under 49 and 194 runs to boot. In terms of wickets, look at this. Shadab Khan at the top. We said how well he's done with the bat as well. Strike rate of 180. He's not on the top run scorers, but at top wicket takers, he's there. And he's also a phenomenal fielder. 5 matches, 14 wickets from them. 6 economy of only 6. Incredible. Imran Tahir as well, not doing bad himself. Economy of 6.6 from his 5 matches and 10 wickets to boot. Kushdil Shah, though, with the best economy rate, as we mentioned earlier, at 5.78, but 9 wickets for him. And David Willey, he's only played 4 matches so far. He's been okay in terms of economy, 7.72, but 7 wickets. And Horace Rolfe also joins him, but he's got a little bit of tap so far in this PSL. An economy of 10.32. Same with Shaheen. He's got 7 wickets as well, but at 7.7. So a little bit more economical for the Pakistani pacer. Highest score, so obviously we know who's got the highest score so far. That's Jason Roy with that 116. Fakhar Zaman 106. Will Smith with the 97. Shadab Khan with the 91. And Babar Azam 90 not out. Best bowling figures. Look at this. Shadab Khan makes up 3 of the 5 best bowling figures of the tournament. That, I think, says it all. How well he's bowled in this tournament. Naseem Shah actually has the best figures at the top there. You can see 3.3 overs, only went for 5.71 per over, and a best of 5 for 20. Shadab Khan 5 for 28. Shadab Khan 4 for 15, and Shadab Khan 4 for 20. So he's in there. Look at the economies. Look, 3.755. Really impressive. Not just getting wickets, but getting wickets at a really good economy. Kushdil Shah, he got 4 for 35. A little bit expensive there at 8.75, but that was a high-scoring game, if I remember correctly. And Waqas Maqsood also exactly the same figures at 4 for 35 from his, at 8.75 even. Batting averages, obviously, Jason Roy will have the highest, considering he's only played 1 match. Colin Munro at 82.5. See there, Tim David, I mean, he's got a lot of not outs. He's finished off games nicely. He's above 80. Harry Brook as well, played 2 matches at 78. He's got a not out there, which is why Fakhar Zaman at 71. Bowling averages, Shadab Khan at the top there, 8.57. And 14 wickets to boot. So really impressive. Most hundreds, most 50s. So 3 for Ahsan Ali, 3 for Fakhar Zaman, 3 for Mohammad Rizwan. You can see that Shadab with 2, Sterling with 2, and Colin Munro with 2. So you can see who the best batting sides are for sure. And most economical bowlers, we know that is Kushdil Shah at the top. 6s, which is interesting. It's always interesting to see. So 15 each for Tim David and Shadab Khan. Fakhar Zaman with 13, and obviously Colin Munro and Sterling with 9 each. 4s, Fakhar Zaman, he does like hitting a 4 for sure. He's at the top there with 36, considering he scored so many runs. It's not a surprise. Shah Masood also can be quite classical at times, but great timer of the ball, 32 at second there. Boundaries and Fakhar Zaman at the top, which isn't a surprise considering he has the most number of runs. Mohammed Hussain says Shadab Khan has outperformed Rashid Khan in all accounts. He has. He's so far. I mean, he hasn't just outperformed Rashid Khan. He's been the best player of the PSL. And everyone knows I'm a Lahore supporter, but I am very realistic, and I know he has been the best player in the PSL so far. He continues the type of form that he's been in that Karachi leg and takes that into the Lahore leg and Islamabad. They could go very far, and it will be inspired by their captain. In terms of the table, so you can see that, Peshawar and Karachi, the bottom 2. But to be fair to Peshawar, they are joint with Quetta. So I think for me, the top 4, I can say who's not going to qualify. I think Karachi definitely are not going to. I think it's going to be extremely tough for them to make up that deficit, but you never know. But they'll need a miracle, really, I feel. In terms of the others, It's quite tough. I think Islamabad will definitely make it through. Same with Multan. I feel like they're the two strongest teams. Lahore, Quetta, and Peshawar. I think I agree with Ashton. I think Peshawar will be the team to miss out. I think Quetta bolstered their team nicely. However, with Peshawar, if Livingston and Saqib Mahmood really do perform well, then Lahore and Quetta could be in a bit of danger. I'm hoping Lahore get the business done. They sort out their bowling, considering they will be at home as well. They should know the conditions inside out, but we'll see. Guys, if you have any more questions, do chuck them my way now before I end the stream. Thank you very much, guys, for tuning in as well. I do appreciate it. Please remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. We will be doing, we're planning on doing anyways, a live stream watch along for the Thursday match, which I think, let's see, is Multan versus Peshawar. So that will be a really big match for Peshawar. If they win that, then obviously they put a bit of pressure straight away on Quetta, Lahore, and Islamabad because they'll be on 6 points. But Multan win that, and they're pretty much, secured that qualifier spot. But at least one of the four, you'd imagine. Thank you very much, guys. Then I think we're all done with comments. Stay safe and well. And we'll see you on the next stream. Thank you very much. Do appreciate it. And if you don't mind liking the video and subscribing to the channel, it helps us out a great deal. Thank you very much, guys. Stay safe and well, and we'll see you on the next video.